All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Happy Sunday. Let's see. Is it Sunday? Yes, it is Sunday. Okay. Whew. So I've been busy this weekend. What have I been doing? I got a bunch of the Steam store page assets updated. I updated the trailer once again because I made some changes. One of the changes I actually made is, let me show you this real quick. Well, maybe before I get ahead of myself and start explaining a bunch of things, I'll just go ahead and do my little ad first. So Gunforged, which is the game I'm working on today, is going to be released on February 17th. So check out the first link in the description below so you can wishlist it. Mark your calendars, all that good stuff. It'll be out very soon. Also, if you're interested in game development, I have a couple of Udemy courses teaching you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. So that's a great way to support me as well. It's also a great way to kickstart your Godot learning journey. That banner right there is one such course. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But yeah, definitely wishlist Gunforged if you haven't. And I greatly appreciate all of you who are going to and who have. And even if it doesn't interest you, the game, I appreciate you being here and watching. So anyway, so now, before I was getting ahead of myself, but now I can explain what I've done this weekend. So I've got this, I've made some changes to the Gunforge UI here. And I'll catch up with the chat in a second, but I changed the icons here. They're much nicer. And also there are tooltips now when you hover over each of these items. So the tooltips for the more complicated things like damage per second, it breaks down the numbers for you and tells you how it's getting to that calculation. Also, it tells you a little bit about the bullets here and how they work. And just expounds upon a lot of these things like spread. Prior to the tooltip, there was no really way to know what the spread represented, but now you can hover over it and you can see that it's the angle in degrees for the bullet trajectory. So I did that. I updated a bunch of Steam store page assets, added a new Steam achievement, all that kind of good stuff. So it was a busy weekend. Of course, I was collecting, the contact information for a bunch of creators as well. I'm going to start emailing those people tomorrow. But we'll get into what I'm doing today in just a moment. Hello, Apple. Hello, Masta. Hello, Luca. Welcome back to all of you. New system 2 weeks before release. Interesting. Yeah. We'll see if it makes it into the game by release. I'm mostly just kind of like out of content ideas right now. So I'll get into what I'm going to be working on today in just a second. But yeah, let's see. Apple says I have an idea for crafting runes, getting empty runes from normal runes and combining them with extra gun parts to make new runes. So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting idea. How are you imagining that would work from like a game design perspective? Where would you combine the runes, and what would be the purpose? What is it? Is it just so that you get more opportunities to get random runes? Or are you thinking like the system would be so that you can create a specific type of rune so you can get an exact rune that you want? Those would be my questions there regarding that system. But so the system today that I'm going to work on, I'm going to call it Madness. And the Madness system is going to be sort of like the post-game system. So how am I going to describe it? So if anyone's played Tiny Rogues, I think the system in there is called the Cinder system. And basically what it does is it makes the game harder. And there are certain unlocks and content that is sort of locked behind doing the Cinder stuff, I believe. That might not actually be true. I don't know if any of the characters in that game are locked behind the Cinder system, but it's basically just a way of for people who are really into the game, who are regularly beating the game, to make the game a little bit harder. So I want to do a system for that. And Gunfortune, the reason is because I beat the game, the release version on Steam last night. I beat the cave level, and it was relatively straightforward because I have a bunch of meta upgrades unlocked. So I was like, man, I would love to play more of this game, but there's no reason to because there's no challenges anymore. So, I mean, beyond the challenge of just, surviving the run. So I want to do a Madness system, which kind of mirrors the Cinder system from Tiny Rogues, which is basically just going to be various modifiers that you can apply to the game to make it harder. And I still have to decide exactly how that's going to function. My thought is that, so if any of you have played Diablo 3, and I don't know if it was in Diablo 2 as well, but there was like the torment levels, right? And you can go up in torment levels and it would just make everything harder, but also increase the loot and everything. I'm thinking about doing the same thing for this Madness system. So basically you get a Madness point for beating the 3 levels on the standard difficulty, and then you can unlock one of these modifiers with that Madness point. So, these are things like you lose 1 health at the start of the run, or you can lose up to 2 health at the start of the run. Maybe prices are 50% higher. Enemies have 20% increased health. Enemy bullets travel 25% faster. These kind of things that are just making the game harder. And the idea would be that you have to beat all 3 levels at that Madness tier, Madness 1, to get the next Madness point, right? So, I mean, that's kind of a lot of runs. That might be a little bit too much. Maybe I could reward like 2 Madness points per completion, but the idea is that these are kind of like torment levels, right? So you choose your modifier that you want, and then you beat all the levels with that modifier, and then you get another Madness point, so now you're on Madness 2, and so on and so forth. And so it'll be a challenge, like, can you beat the game on Madness 10, right? So that's kind of the idea. And I'm going to start implementing that today, and I'm just going to see how it feels, and we'll see. Hello, Lukey. Welcome back. More opportunities to get the runes that you want. I got you. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I definitely want to I have this idea down here, a rune randomizer machine, which will shuffle all the runes that are in your inventory. So that kind of accomplishes that. I definitely agree there should be a way to more opportunities to get the runes that you want, but I'm still thinking about that. Hello, Maxim. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. What software do you use for these cards? This is Obsidian, the note-taking app Obsidian with the Obsidian Kanban Community plugin. Yummers, thank you so much, Snupbill, for the IDR 20,000 super chat. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Generous as always. Hades has a system that's kind of like that. Yeah, I think it's pretty pretty common in roguelikes to have sort of like this post-game system that makes the game harder. I might have to play Hades again and just see. Hades was really difficult. I don't know what it was, but I was having a really hard time with Hades. I didn't really play that much of it. Okay, so let's find out where we're gonna start here. Okay. All right, where are we gonna start? That's a good question. Well, I'll mirror it after the meta upgrade, because this is very similar to the meta upgrade system. They're just negative meta upgrades. So I think I'll go ahead and create a resource for it. Hey, thank you, Mycoon Dev, for the €2. Very much appreciate that super chat. Thank you. That's very generous. Thank you, thank you. What is that little thing? Is that a... Oh, it's a game controller that says GLHF. Nice. Thank you. Cute little game controller guy. All right, so I'm going to start with a... Yeah, let's just create a new folder in here. Oh, you know what? Before I go any further, I'm actually going to do this on an entirely different branch. So I'll just call this Madness. So I'm just going to keep this work in a parallel branch, and I'll just make sure to continue rebasing on master as I'm making changes to the game prior to release. So this system may or may not be in the release version of the game. It all depends on how the development goes. Honestly, I really don't think the Madness system is going to take more than like a couple days to implement, because it's basically exactly the same as the meta upgrade system. It's just applying negative modifiers, but the functionally, like how the unlocks work and everything, is going to be the same. Honestly, the most difficult part, I think, is just going to be structuring the save data so that it keeps track of your Madness tiers that you've unlocked. So yeah. Hello, Emily Lemonly. That's a funny name. Emily Lemonly. That rolls off the tongue real nice. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you. Okay, so let's create a new resource or a new folder here. Create new folder. Madness. Bam. Okay, we'll wait for Godot to scan the entire file system just because I added one folder. That's cool. All right, so I need a meta upgrade resource. Where is this at? The meta upgrade. So this is in data. Might as well create a new folder in here called Madness. Meta upgrade resource. Let's copy this, paste it in here, rename Madness resource. Madness resource. Okay, so we've got the ID. That works. Display name, description, icon texture, and cost. We don't need cost, but we'll keep the rest of these because I'm probably going to do the same thing that I did for the upgrade system. Yeah, that'll work. What else? So we got the Madness resource. Let me build. Oh, I hope this doesn't... Wait a minute. How is this going to work? If I switch to the master, I don't know how this is going to work with the custom resources and the branches. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Oh, wait, no, never mind. So I was up at 4 a.m. this morning. So I've already been up for 7.5 hours. So if I'm a little slow, that might be why. Meta upgrade Madness. Okay, so if we create a new resource here, I should be able to do a Madness. Where did that go? Why is that not here? Madness resource. Did I not build? Coming to stream and Firebelly is face palming, yeah. Yeah, there might be a lot of that happening today. Create new resource. Madness. Why is this not here? Is that global class not working? Hold on a second. Is Godot just not updating here? Madness is there. Let me see. MS build. Let's clean the project. Rebuild the project. I don't think that's going to do anything, but I'm kind of puzzled as to why that custom resource is not showing up in the... Let's see, is this going to work? There it is. Okay. I knew there was something wrong there. Okay, so what do we... Let's just implement the first... Let's actually do this one. Enemies have 20% increased health. So let's do increased enemy health. All right, so we've got this. Oh, what are we gonna call it? Something like spongy. Well, it's called spongy. Why not? Description: enemies have 20% increased health. And we'll leave the icon texture blank for now. Okay, so I'm just gonna set up the very basic framework. So I've got one madness upgrade here. So I'm going to model this madness stuff after the meta upgrade. So I'm gonna go in here into my meta upgrade registry here. I'm just gonna copy this, create a new file, madness registry. Paste this in here. This is static madness registry. That's such a cool name for a end game system. Madness. I don't know. Okay, this is going to be my madness resource. I'll just get rid of this for now. Get rid of this for now. This is resources madness. Madness resource path. Madness resource. Get madness resource by ID. I don't know what to call it, like a madness upgrade, a madness downgrade. Okay. That should all be fine. This is redundant. Okay, so we've got our madness registry. Will Gunforge be available for Mac OS? Yes, it will be available on all desktop platforms. So Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. And I've actually tested every single one of those on actual hardware, and it works. I mean, obviously Linux has a lot more different configurations than Windows or Mac, but I tested it on, I actually have on this little guy right here, this little USB-C drive. I installed Zorin OS, which I think is that based on Ubuntu? I don't remember, but I installed Zorin OS and I booted up from it, installed Steam, installed Gunforged on it, and it ran just fine. So, and I also have an old Mac that I'm testing on Mac OS 12, and it runs great on that as well. So, yep, it works on everything. Hello, Dione. I would love to get it on Steam Deck, but I don't have controller support yet. So that may come after release, depending on how that all goes, but in principle, it should run on the Steam Deck as well whenever I add controller support. Hello, new time. Hello, Perseverance. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't have a stream schedule on weekends, so I just kind of stream whenever I'm moved to. Zorin OS as a GOAT. Yeah, I really like it. I wish there are still some things that are preventing me from moving to Linux, but if I were to move to Linux, I would go with Zorin because it's the most familiar to what I'm used to with Windows, but there are still a lot of things that are preventing me from doing that. I have a lot of applications that are Windows only, like my video editor, DaVinci Resolve. You either have to hack together a way to get DaVinci Resolve to work, or you just can't use Linux. Nice, yeah. Anyway, all right, so we got the madness. Do I want to, I probably want to do this as well. So let's create new file, madnessid.cs, madnessid, public const string, increased enemy health. I think that's what it was called, right? Increased enemy health, yep. Enemy health, okay. Cool, declare madness. Oh, did I not have game.data.madness? So for those that are just joining, I know you may be wondering what the heck is this madness thing. So I'll just go ahead and explain it again real quick. Actually, I should put all these in the same namespace, right? So the madness system that I'm working on right now is basically a way of making the game more difficult after you beat the game for the first time. So I was playtesting last night and I beat the game. I beat all 3 levels. And I wanted to keep playing, but it felt kind of pointless because I had already beaten everything, and the only option then was to go back to the dungeon level. But I have no reason basically to go back to the dungeon level because I'm so much better at the game now, and the cave level is the hardest level. And so it's like, well, if I'm going to keep playing the game, I'm just going to keep playing the cave level. I wouldn't play the graveyard or the dungeon because those are easier. And I was like, well, that's kind of unfortunate. And most roguelikes have some kind of end game system where you can make the game harder if you want. So this is what the madness system is going to be. The madness system is basically just going to be kind of like the permanent upgrade system, except it's just going to make the game harder. And the idea is that after you beat the game, you'll get a madness point, and that will put you on madness tier 1. Or when you allocate the point to one of the madness upgrades, quote unquote, you'll be on madness tier 1, and then you'll have to beat all of the levels again at that tier 1 level, and then you'll get your second madness point, and then so on and so forth. So I want there to be like 10 madness levels, so, you know, you'll have to beat like 30 levels, I guess. I think that sounds a little bit too much, but at the same time, I want to offer something for somebody to work towards if they're really enjoying the game and they just want to have a goal. So I don't think it's that bad of a thing. All of this is subject to change, right? I don't even know if this is going to make it into the release version of the game, but this is kind of the system that I'm thinking of. So Dark Souls type reborn, and then each mob getting harder. Yeah, basically like that. Yeah, except the upgrades are going to be, or the downgrades, I guess, are going to be a little bit more interesting than just enemies get harder. I mean, the runs are going to get harder, but not necessarily as a consequence of the enemies themselves being harder. So for instance, one of the things I want to do is just like take a health point off of the player like immediately, or take 2 health points off of the player, right? Of course, you can have enemies have 20% increased health, prices 50% higher, right? So that's, and these are all individual madness tiers. So this is not like every madness tier the prices go up 50%. This is like, no, you take this one and then like that's locked in, right? Enemy bullets travel 25% faster. Enemy bullets have 50% increased range. Each wave has 1 additional max enemy count. Each wave has 2 additional max enemy count. Taking damage causes you to drop 10 gold. Are these 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I need 1 more. But you see what I mean? Like, these are not necessarily making the game harder in terms of like tweaking the enemy numbers. Some of them are, but like a lot of them are just making the game more difficult because it's like you starting with less health, right? So yeah. If you have a Mac, you could use DaVinci Resolve on that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Hello, Polaris. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day as well. Welcome back to the stream. We can actually limit what can the player do too. Yeah. The one thing that I don't want to do is that I don't want to have madness upgrades that are going to directly cancel out one of your permanent upgrades. So I initially thought, well, maybe a madness upgrade could be like knock the player max health down by 1, but then that feels kind of bad because then that just cancels out one of your meta upgrades. That was the other thing I was thinking of too. I was thinking about expanding the meta upgrade tree based on what madness tier you're on. So actually building out the upgrade tree even more, but locking some of it behind the madness tiers. I don't know. Because the other problem that I was running into is like, oh, the player's going to run out of things to spend their gold on. And that's a little bit unfortunate. So in order to keep that gold treadmill going, I have to think about something like that. Yeah, lots to think about. I mean, we'll see. The game releases in 2 weeks. We'll see if this system makes it in or not, but we'll see. Can't think of it later because there's so much possibilities to do, yeah. And certainly if anyone watching or anyone watching the VOD, if you have any ideas, leave a comment below or leave a comment in the live chat right now. I'm always open to suggestions. I mean, there's many people watching right now who have had their suggestions implemented by me live on stream, so I'm certainly always open to it. Open to suggestions, that is. Okay, so we've got these madness things. So let's move in now to the save manager, and we're going to need to create an unlock system for this. So there's actually 2 different unlocks I need to keep track of. I need to keep track of whether the game has been beat for each madness tier. So right now, I'm keeping track of dungeon wins, graveyard wins, cave wins, dungeon losses, graveyard losses, cave losses. So this is what will initially determine if you have unlocked the first madness tier. So if dungeon wins is greater than 0, if cave wins is greater than 0, if graveyard wins is greater than 0, then that means that you have access to the first madness point. But then I'm going to need like a dictionary structure to keep track of the madness tier stats. So I think what I'll do is, let me think. Oh man, this is going to be tough. It's not going to be tough. I just need to be careful about how I structure this data. So I think what I'm probably going to want is this structure here, but I'm going to want to put that into, do I want to put it in statistics? Statistics. Do I want to put it there? Shoot. The other question is, how am I going to represent the madness tiers in the data? Do I want to just use an integer? Do I just want to say 1 is madness tier 1, 2 is madness tier 2? Or do I want to put it in like an enum or something? Passive unlocks, affix unlocks. Well, okay, let's not worry about the level stuff yet. Let's just start with this. Let's just create a key for madness unlocks here. We're going to want to create a new file, madness unlock.cs. Oh, does this really not have a namespace? Oh, goodness. Namespace game.save. Game.data.save. I wonder if I missed adding this for a lot of things here. Game.data.save. Did I just not copy it over correctly? Game.data.save. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. Like I said, I got up at 4 a.m. today, so I'm a little bit tired. Okay, so madness unlock, JSON property. Okay, there's my madness unlock. Madness unlock. Okay, so there's my madness unlocks. So this is going to be those upgrade resources. So if I go to my save manager now, I'm going to do try unlock meta upgrade. I'm going to need both of these actually. So I'm just going to copy paste this. Actually, let's just copy this whole block. Okay, so try unlock madness. String madness ID. Madness registry dot get madness resource by ID. Madness ID. We'll rename this to madness. Yeah. Madness unlocks. Cool. So did I do everything correctly here? I can't leave anything here. Okay, so then try lock madness. Madness ID. Madness registry. Get madness resource by ID. Madness unlocks. Okay, I'm just make sure that this is correct. Yeah. Okay, and then has madness here. Let's see. Madness ID. Madness unlocks. Cool. Okay, so there we go. Obviously, this code is very similar. I probably should have found a way to like unify this better, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I've got those things and I've got the save data here. So now I need to worry about the statistics here about tracking the different madness tiers that have been won. Oh man, I have to think. I don't know if I should just use integers. That makes me very uneasy. Whenever I'm saving data, I always prefer to link things to specific IDs. Just because that makes like future data migration so much easier. It's easier to reason about the data. The data is more human readable. And so if I have 10 tiers of madness, I could either just use an integer for that 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. Or I could set up a system where I assign an ID to each tier. But I think for this purpose, that would be overkill. So I'm probably just going to use the integer approach. That makes me uneasy, but I don't think there's any sense in like over engineering it because it doesn't need to be that complicated. And I can always migrate the save data. I just want to set up the save data such that I will likely not have to migrate it in the future, but I do have a system in place for migrating save data if I need to. So anyway, have you thought about adding cosmetics like hats by completing runs with specific requirements, such as using only oil type runes? Yes, I have. And cosmetics were something that I cut actually relatively a while ago, just because that was going to add development time, and I didn't think it was necessary. I actually at one point planned on adding multiple playable characters as well, but I also cut that for the same reason. Those things could make a comeback in the future. Again, it all depends on how well the game does. The reason why I'm doing the madness stuff right now is because when I was playtesting last night, I really felt like I almost felt disappointed because I had beaten the game, but I didn't have any more challenges. Like the only challenge remaining was to basically finish unlocking the meta upgrade tree, which I could have done, but I'd much rather have like, okay, now give me more. Like I really want to push myself, you know, and that option wasn't available to me. And I'm sure other players are going to feel like that as well. So I'm hoping that this next 2 weeks is enough time to like get a nice system in place and working well, so that players don't feel that way. Otherwise, if I didn't feel like it was necessary, if I felt like it was just an extraneous thing, I would be not working on this system either. But I really do think that a system like this is necessary to accommodate the players that may beat the game in like 5 hours of total playtime and want to play more. That would be the worst thing, is to have the players beat the game and then like they want to play more, but they don't feel like they're going to get anything out of it, you know? So anyway, you got your stream ID on the save manager, Steam ID. You need to track in the game code. Oh yeah. So you made me scared. I was like, wait, is that a secret? Like, do I need to take down the stream? No, these IDs are public. So you need the ID to initialize the Steam client for some reason. And the Steam client is basically just a way that you can trigger, the way I'm using it is to trigger achievements and whatnot. So you do need to have the app ID. I don't know why, but I just have them in here, and that makes it work. Are they cumulative? Like if you're on level 5, do you continue to feel the effects of the other tiers? Yes. And the idea is too that I want to make it like an unguided tier system. So like in order to be on Madness tier 1, you have to unlock one of the 10 upgrades. But I want them to all be unlocked by default, so you can pick your poison. So if you feel like you can deal with one particular Madness item, then you can take that one, right? So, you know, you might not start with the 20% increased enemy health. If you're just barely surviving, you might take one that's like, you know, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be pick your poison. And I also want to make the Madness points refundable. So if you're like on tier 3 out of 10 and you find out that actually this one Madness point that you allocated is making it a little bit too difficult, I want you to be able to refund that and just put it in a different one, and then you'll still be on tier 3, but it will just be a different configuration. Like, I'm not going to be super strict about it. I'm just going to say, in order to beat Madness tier 3, you have to have 3 Madness points allocated. That's it, right? And you don't necessarily need to do them sequentially either. Well, I guess you do need to do them sequentially. Let me think. I mean, you could go back down to Madness tier 2 if you wanted. So if it's like Madness tier 3 is a little bit too hard and you need to farm some more gold to get some upgrades, then you could just deallocate a Madness point and you'll be now down to tier 2. And then you can do your farming before you reallocate the point and try again, right? So I want to make it very flexible. And if you want, you can just deallocate all of them if you want to just go and stomp the enemies at the normal difficulty, you know what I mean? I am watching. Welcome, Rupin. Great to see you. Hello, your cheesy creator. I love that profile picture. It brings joy to me every time I see it. Good morning to you as well. To be honest, I just saw this channel January 16th as I was looking for Godot related tutorials, and I stumbled upon your composition video in Godot. Then I managed to see you doing live, and yeah, got hooked by that. I'll try to test your game demo on Steam tomorrow. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, I actually just hit 1,100,000 channel views the other day, but like 300,000 of those are from that composition video. So lots of people are coming in from that composition video, which is awesome. Yeah, you can choose your progression, exactly. I don't want to be, like, the system's going to be already hard enough. I don't want to also feel like the player, like, has unchoosable roadblocks, if that makes sense. Like, if I predefine a track, it's going to probably end up stumping some players and not others. So I figure, why not give the player the opportunity to choose how to stump themselves, you know? Reminds me of Gears of War vid from years ago regarding the multiple difficulty levels of the Horde mode. Don't underestimate the player. Yeah. Good morning to you as well, Fox Shadow. Thanks, yeah. I love it. The Canva cheese. Canva cheese. All right. So what was I doing? Okay, so now the next thing I need to do, so in order to be able to detect, has the player beaten all of the levels for a given Madness tier, I also need to be able to track that. And let me think. So the thing that I'm kind of tripped up on is, do I want to just derive the state, the unlock state, by just scanning the statistics every time? Or do I want to actually store, like, when the player unlocked a certain tier? I'm going to need to store the available Madness points somewhere. Player data. No, that's not right. Meta currency amount. I think what I'll do is I'll just do this. JSON property, Madness. Do I want to do it in here? Do I need to store that? I don't think I need to store that, do I? Maybe I should just derive the state of the Madness tier from the statistics purely. So if I do this, if I take this block right here, which is each of the level wins and losses, and I do JSON property Now the other question is, I probably want to keep these statistics separate so I have a way of determining, okay, how many dungeon wins do you have on the normal difficulty? So I probably don't want to increment this if you're on a madness tier, like starting at tier 1. Now I'm thinking maybe I should just put this at this level and call it madness statistics. I think I like that better. Now the question is again, how do I do the tiers? Do I want to do this dictionary int and then create like a madness statistics object? Like I said, I just need to think very carefully about this so I don't end up painting myself into a corner, so to speak. I don't know why I'm doing that, but all right. Madness statistics, okay. That is some tasty water, let me tell you what. Okay, so madness statistics, cool. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So now I need a way of deriving from the madness statistics which madness. Okay. Should I put that in the madness registry? Or should I put it in the madness manager? Save. I don't want to clutter that with the save manager necessarily. Or do I? I mean, this is already relatively cluttered here. I think I will. I don't really like this, but I probably will just put a madness manager in here. Game dot, what is this? Game dot data dot madness. Cool. Public static class madness manager. So what I basically want this to do is public static int. No, oh man. No, I should be able to derive all the information I need. Yeah. So given the madness unlocks that I have in the save data and given the statistics, I should be able to derive how many madness points I can spend, how many madness points I have spent, and how many madness tiers I've completed. So I'm gonna probably want to do this, something like get maximum madness tier available. So I'm gonna probably want to do something like that. Okay, public, is that all I need to do? Public static int get available madness points. So we'll derive this information as well. Public static int get madness spent points, return 0. Okay, yeah, we'll just derive all this information. This is actually going to be better because the more information you can derive from your data, the less synchronization you have to do, right? So I'm basically deriving these these variables. So the maximum madness tier available, the available madness points, and the spent madness points. I'm deriving all of that from basically two sets of data. I have the madness statistics, which just tracks each level's wins and losses, grouped by madness tier, which is this int value here. And then I have the unlocks, the madness unlocks here. So with these two sets of data, I can derive everything that I need to know about the madness system. I don't need to keep things synchronized. And the less things that you have to keep synchronized, then the less chances there is for data mismatches and various bugs arising from that. Obviously, you don't want to do this kind of derivation for very heavy calculations, but there's 10 tiers. So like I could run 1,000 of those in a single frame, 1,000 iterations of 10 tiers in a single frame, and it wouldn't basically make a difference. Hello, Splat, welcome back. Good morning. You can only say good morning for 8 more minutes, and then it will not be morning here anymore. It's almost 1 a.m. here in the Philippines. Wow. Well, thank you for joining. Great to have you here again. The Noob Tide Hunter. Hey, what do you think about the upcoming Godot 4.4? Love your videos. Thank you. Welcome to the stream, Noob Tide Hunter. Yeah, Godot 4.4 looks great. I will probably be updating Gunforge to that. Probably not prior to release. I thought I was originally going to do that, but I doubt 4.4 will be out before Gunforge releases. And also, I wouldn't want to make that big of a change prior to release anyway. So, but maybe sometime after release I'll be updating. But there is some stuff in 4.4 that I want. Namely, there's a drag and drop API change that allows you to cancel an active drag and drop from code. And I don't need that, but I want it to improve the UX of some of my drag and drop. But yeah, Godot 4.4 looks great. Okay, so Madness Manager, and then we're going to do this. Private const int max madness tiers is equal to, oh, this can't be a const, can it? Madness registry dot public static float, public static int, total madness upgrades. I'll just call them upgrades, I guess. Yeah. Private static read-only int. Okay. Well, shoot, then I don't even need to do this. Because I can just derive that from that, so I don't even need to do that. Oh wait, get maximum madness tier available. Oh no, this is the total max madness tiers, right. And this is the maximum available. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to say for I int var I equals 0, I is less than or equal to total max madness tiers. This is starting at 1 actually. I'm not going to do the whole 0th tier. I'm going to put it in a human readable form and say that tier 1 is represented by the number 1. Get maximum madness tier available. So this does need to return 0. If there are, okay, interesting. Let me think. If save manager dot statistics dot dungeon wins is equal to 0. Let's just do less than or equal to 0 for safety. I don't know why that would be the case, but or save manager dot statistics dot graveyard wins is less than or equal to 0, or save manager dot statistics dot cave wins is less than or equal to 0. So if any of these are 0, then we're going to return maximum tier available. So that means that, so tier 0 means it's not available. You can't use the madness system. And then assuming that's correct, what we're going to do here maximum tier available is equal to I. So we guaranteed want to set it to 1 if we make it past this check, because if all of these have 1 or more wins, then we have access to tier 1. So we're going to set that in the loop here. And then the next thing to do is to get the var madness statistics for tier is equal to save manager dot madness save manager dot save manager this is a mess. Oh, this is a dictionary. Int madness statistics for tier is equal to save manager dot madness statistics dot try get value I out var madness statistics. Oh wait, madness statistics for tier. And then we'll do the same check here basically. If madness statistics for tier dot question mark dot dungeon wins. How does this actually work? Dungeon losses or dungeon wins less than or equal to 0. How does this evaluate if it's null? Does that just automatically evaluate to false, or does it default to 0? I actually don't trust that, so I'll just default it myself. So the reason I need to do a null check here is because I may not have any data saved for that madness tier yet. So this try get value will return null with a madness statistics reference set to null. So I just need to make sure to null check that. We'll default it to 0. If madness statistics for tier is less than, or dungeon wins is less than or equal to 0, or we're going to do this, graveyard wins is less than or equal to 0, or cave wins is less than or equal to 0. So if any of those are 0 for that tier, and they're all defaulting to 0 if they're null, then what I need to do is I'm just going to return maximum tier available. There will never be an 11th tier, so this will always return 10. This check will always fail. But I'm going to do this. If I is equal to total madness tiers, or let's do this. If maximum tier available we just won't do that check just for safety purpose. There's no reason to look up the dictionary for a value I know is going to be null. Oh wait. No, that's yeah, that's right. We don't want to look up 11. So we'll just if we get to 10, we'll just return 10. It doesn't matter what the 10th level statistics are. And then of course we need to do a return down here, even though this for loop, this return statement is never going to be hit basically, but C# doesn't know that. How long have you been working on your game? It's been in development for some let me try that again. It's been in development in some fashion for 4 years now. Now that's been on and off. It's not been 4 years of constant effort, but the first commit I ever made to the repository was in September of 2020. Gotta go. Good luck with the rest of the stream and game. Thank you, Mycoon, and thanks for stopping by. And also, are you doing the whole game in C#? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Izzy. Just finished your Survivors 2D Udemy course, one of the best courses I could imagine. Especially the bonus content was helpful. Thank you for this. Hopefully I can start with my own game soon. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you really enjoyed that course and appreciate your message. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, anyone else who's interested, that course is linked below. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. But yeah, welcome to the stream, MK. Vikram Wrench. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Okay, so we filled out that. Phew, get available madness points. So this one is going to be a little bit different. Let me think. This is going to be var maximum madness points is going to be equal to get maximum madness tier available. And then we need to get the current. So I'm going to actually break this out. Public static int get available madness points get current madness tier. And here what I'm going to do is I'm essentially just going to do this. Let's see if I can do something really fancy here. So if I do return madness registry dot public static I enumerable string all IDs, ID to resource dot keys, madness registry dot all IDs dot count, save manager dot has madness. That's it. I think that's it. I actually don't need this then. Return maximum madness points minus current madness points. I think that should be right. So if I'm on tier 0, this is going to return 0. This is going to return 0. And this is going to return 0. 0 minus 0, 0. Now if I get to tier 1, this is going to be 1. This is going to be 0. And this is going to be... Yeah, that should work. So like I'm just deriving all this data by just checking what's saved in this madness dictionary and also just checking the statistics. That keeps things nice and simple. One of the downsides of this though is I can't like log a timestamp of when the person unlocked or when the player unlocked a certain madness tier, but I don't think that's important. I'm logging timestamps just to be like really thorough in a lot of places, but I have not found a use for that yet, so I hope that doesn't bite me in the rear in the future. I don't think it will. I don't see a reason why I'd need to check when a player unlocks something, and it's not even reliable data anyway because a player's system time can just be whenever they want it to be, so it's not like it'd be foolproof data to have anyway if I wanted to do some kind of check on it. Well, like I said, hope that doesn't bite me in the rear. The biggest question is how I'm going to display a notification when a new madness tier is unlocked, but I will cross that bridge when I get to it. I'll have to build that bridge when I get to it, but I'm going to cross that, whatever it is, when I get to it. Okay, that is good. Okay. I'm pretty confident that this is going to work. I may have made a logical error in here somewhere, but we'll figure that out as we get there. Now the problem here. Increment runs 1. Yeah, so this is going to be the problem here. Increment runs 1. Is this ever called outside of anywhere else? No. Okay. Okay. All right. So when this increment runs 1 is called, I think what I need to do is I need to get the current madness tier. So this is where my madness tier is going to come into effect. So if I say if current madness tier is equal to 0, then we just increment the normal runs 1. Else, we are going to want to not do the statistics manager. We could probably want to put this in the madness manager. Let's see, save manager. Let's see. Oh man, madness statistics. Yeah, I probably want to put it in there. So what I'll do is I will take, I'm going to copy statistics manager. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this in my madness manager here. Increment runs. Oh, I need to do this one too. Okay. That's fine. We'll just do both. Actually, I can just do increment. Yeah, I could just do this. Var madness tier is equal to get current madness tier. I'm just gonna count it in here again rather than passing it along. So I'm always guaranteed that this is gonna be correct. And then this. Oh shoot. Man, why is this so hard? I need to think about what I'm doing with this. Should I stick with using Godot GDScript version for my mobile game because I learned that there's some problems with the C# version? Yeah, I would do that. That's probably going to be the most reliable way to go. I don't know. I thought the C# problems were done with mobile, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's 4.4. Why is my nose so itchy? Oh my gosh, hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with what issues, if any, are still in the C# mobile version, but yeah, you should stick with GDScript, I think. Probably a wise choice. All right, let's see. So the problem that I'm running into is yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to put an overall runs lost in here. Public. So I'm just going to keep track of the total wins and the total losses and the individual wins and the individual losses on a per tier basis. So everything that exists in the statistics object here with regards to runs won and runs lost, that's going to be on the normal difficulty. So that's going to be assuming normal difficulty, and then the madness wins and losses are going to be stored separately. If I ever want to show them as one stat, I can just add them all up. It's not that big of a deal. But the problem is that if I'm storing the cumulative value, I have no way of breaking it out into its disparate parts if I ever wanted to show that to the player. So if the player ever asked a question like, hey, how many times have I lost on Madness Tier 1? If I was just combining all of the losses together in one stat, I wouldn't be able to tell the player that, right? So it's better to be granular, I think, when it comes to these kind of statistics. So increment runs 1, and that also simplifies things actually quite a bit, because then I can do madness manager dot increment runs 1 level here. And then that's going to go in here. We've got the madness tier. And so I can do save manager var madness statistics equals save manager dot madness statistics dot try get value. Why did I do that? Try get value madness tier. I'm also going to just do this real quick. If madness tier is equal to 1 or equal to 0, or madness tier is greater than total madness tiers, I'm going to do logger.error. Tried to save statistics for invalid madness tier. And then we'll just return. So I'll just make sure that it can't save an invalid value. Okay, so out var madness statistics. Madness statistics question mark equals new madness statistics. So if it ends up being null, I'll create a new instance, and then I can do this. Like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here, except in here we'll do madness statistics. Oh, and then at the end, I want to reset that. So save manager dot madness statistics madness tier is equal to. So I'm going to make sure to assign that, because if it ends up being null, yeah, if it ends up being null, I'm going to need to reassign it. So okay, maybe there's a more elegant way to do that. Maybe I should have just done if not save manager dot has dot madness statistics dot has or contains key. What is this telling me? Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Oh, okay. So that is simpler. Very nice. Let's put this up here. Okay, anyway. So now in my run statistics manager here, if the current madness tier is 0, increment runs 1. So I'm going to need to do the same thing here. this statistics value is temporary, short-lived, so that doesn't matter. I probably don't even need to increment that, but I'm just doing that for completion purposes. Just for completion. Okay, all right. So I think we've got the basic structure set up now for saving this data. So do I want to do, let's think. Hello, Old Rod, welcome back. How are you doing? I saw your post on Twitter about the NVIDIA driver update problems you had. Is there a workaround? I'm having similar issues as well. Well, one workaround is to run your game and the editor in OpenGL mode instead of forward plus. So in compatibility mode instead of forward plus mode. That is one way to get around the problem. The other way is to roll back the driver. I ended up rolling back the driver because why did I do that? I just figured that would be easier. And also, I'm expecting most of my players to be playing on the forward plus renderer, so I want to make sure that I'm doing as much play testing using that renderer as possible. So yeah. It's only affecting parts of my UI as far as I can see, but it's annoying. Yeah, I think it's like it's making very minor, like off-pixel artifacts, but when you have a very low-resolution pixel game, those artifacts become very prominent. But if you have a high enough resolution, like the editor looked mostly fine for me. I could tell that there was artifacting, but for the most part, it looked all right. So yeah, anyway, so let's see, we've got all these things. So I'm just gonna run, let me commit this first. Start work on framework for Madness unlocks. Okay, so let me actually test this now. So this Madness statistics here, I'm just gonna go to my game events just for ease of use. And I'm gonna do this, gd.print s. Let's do madness manager dot get available madness points, madness manager dot get maximum madness tier available, madness manager dot get current madness tier. These should all be 0 and there should be no errors. So let's see what happens. One, 1, 0. Why is that wrong? Get available madness points, get maximum madness tiers available. Oh, because I've already beaten everything. Oh, I was wrong. Yeah, I've already beaten all the levels, so that's actually correct. So I should have madness available. Interesting, okay. Okay. I believe that's working. So yeah, the game is telling me I have 1 available madness points and I got the maximum madness tier available, but my current madness tier is 0 because I haven't spent any of those points. So that's working as expected. I really should work on my Java project for university, but instead I'm watching game dev stream from C#. Yeah, Java is so much pain compared to C#. It really quickly became one of my one of fun programming language. Yeah, I mean, Java is very verbose for sure. Very, very enterprisey. I mean, C# is verbose and enterprisey as well, but not to the same degree, especially with the way that C# is moving recently with all the syntactic sugar that they're adding. I would love to see more statically typed languages borrow from JavaScript with its array destructuring and object destructuring and all that stuff. JavaScript is, I know a lot of people hate on JavaScript, but honestly, it's like one of my favorite languages to use because it's just so versatile. Like you can do so much cool, like clever stuff with it that just makes writing code very easy. It's also very easy to do things wrong in JavaScript, which is why I prefer TypeScript. But anyway, that's a tangent that we don't need to go down. All right, so let's see if we can get a madness thing working. How am I gonna do this? I guess I'll just start setting up the UI, honestly. Like the only way that I can really test this is by toggling, like getting the UI in place. So I think what I'll do is I'll start working on a UI, and that's going to involve putting a new table in the hub room. Honestly, if I'm telling you the truth, I could probably finish this madness system today if I like worked on it for the next 6 hours. We'll see if that happens, but I might actually do that, because I kind of really want this system to be done before I start sending things out to reviewers. If it's going to be in the game, I have to play test and everything too, but yeah. Interesting. Oh, you know what the other thing I want to do too is I wanted to make the madness system, like the way that you access the madness system. I wanted to make it like a little imp or something in here as an NPC. And what I'd love to do ideally is use the sort of cinematic system that I created for the intro cinematic, the little tiny intro cinematic. Use that cinematic system to like start a dialogue with that imp character when the madness system gets introduced. And then he would be the way that you would open up the madness interface to like add your little things. So I might not get it done today, but yeah. I gotta think about that some more. Let's get it functional first. We're thinking too far ahead here. In libgdx, if I do vector2 post equals get position, post is affected because transform get position returns this dot position that's set. Let me see. Oh, that's weird. So it's like setting stuff when you're trying to get stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm not fully understanding what you're saying there. Ew, is that a spider on your profile pic? Okay. I am parched. I'm out of water, so I'm gonna go get some more water real quick. But in the meantime, again, please wishlist Gunforge. That's this game that I'm working on now. Gunforge will be out in 2 weeks on the 17th of February, so almost exactly 2 weeks. I guess 17th is what? I guess that would be Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday of next, or yeah, whatever, 2 weeks, whatever, the 17th. Look at the calendar to figure out what day that is. But yeah, please wishlist Gunforge if you haven't already, if you're interested in doing so. And also you could check out the links to my Udemy courses below. Hello, Unsus. Welcome, welcome. So give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna go get a refill on my water and I'll be right back and we'll continue on working on the madness system. All right, I'm back. Because in Java, object are passed by reference, and the library does some weird optimization by not returning every time a new vector when calling get position. Oh, I see. I see. That would make sense. So yeah, if it's storing the vector2 as an object and it's just returning a reference to that vector2, then when you try to change the vector2, I guess that could have consequences if you've assigned. Yeah, I think the way that Godot does it with C# is that vector2s are structs, if I'm not mistaken, which are passed by value and not by reference. Am I right about that? I could just be making that up. I think that's correct. Let me see. Oh, goodness gracious. I equate, yeah, it's a struct. So yeah, I believe in C# structs are passed by value. So when you reassign a vector2, it creates two copies of the, there are two independent references. Or values, I guess. Okay. Let's go ahead and create a table for this. Hello, Nepal V. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you again. All right, so let me, this passive unlocks table, I'm just going to copy this bad boy over here. This is going to be called the Madness unlocks. Oop, I need to copy this first. Show in file system. Duplicate. Madness unlocks table. Okay. Indulge the madness. Okay. Yes, I just made that up right now. I think it sounds pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe it's too edgelord. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of that. I'll leave the scroll in place just so that there's something here for me to actually see, but we're going to change all this art and stuff. Passive unlock screen. So, interesting. So I don't need a screen. My meta upgrade screen looks like this, but the Madness screen does not need to look like this. What I will probably do is I'll probably use... Oh, interesting. Icon sprite. Why am I using an icon sprite? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm not going to question my past self too much. But I am going to need to create a new screen for this. So let me think. I don't want the the closest thing, honestly, is probably the affix unlock screen, which is also the rune unlock screen. This is probably what I want to be copying here. Let me take a look at this. Library transform class stores their values in an array and also stores vector2 position, but when you call get position, it sets vector2 position from values in its array. Oh, wow. That sounds very annoying. Hello, Cheesum. Just finished my competition submission. Fingers crossed that I win. Yeah, good luck to you. Yes, and congratulations for submitting. So honestly, the Madness, I actually have an idea. Ooh, I had an idea, yes, when I was trying to go to sleep last night. So what I want to do, and this might be too much, but since the Madness guy is going to be an imp, what I want to do is I want to have a panel like this, and then have his fingers coming over top of the left and the right side, and then his eyes like right here, and then his big schnoz like dropping down, and then I'll have two columns like of 5 Madness things each. That's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna build the screen from scratch here. Scene, new scene, canvas layer, Madness unlocks screen. I guess that UI folder is so cluttered. Oh goodness. We will ignore that for now. Okay. So the reason I have this in here is I'm going to grab all of these things over. I'm going to get rid of this chain panel animator for now. Allow escape, cursor lock, yes. When I copy these two things, get rid of this. Okay, this needs to be 11. Oops. Okay, we got the close texture button, very nice. Okay, and this ends up being a panel container. So I do need those pass-through containers. Pass-through container. There we go. Type variation, ingot panel container. Layout, container sizing, shrink center, shrink center. Okay, we're gonna need a HBox container and then 2 VBox containers under that. Oops. Not as children of each other, just side by side. Okay, and then I'm gonna need texture rect. What is the, I'm gonna make it the same size as these ones. What are these? 26 by 26. What an odd size. Why did I choose 26 by 26? I guess 16 was too small and 32 was too big. Anyway. Do I want to copy this? Let's just copy this. Turn on keep. Paste. Okay. Oops, too many. So I'm just getting this set up the way that I want it to be. This panel container, custom minimum size, 256 is too much, 192. That might be too much as well, 128. Okay. And then this, we're gonna, how do I want to do this? These need to be set to container sizing, expand, shrink center. Yeah, shrink center. There we go. That's what I wanted. And I'm going to probably need one more thing, which is a margin container here to bring those off of the sides a little bit. Probably not that much though, but actually, do I even need this? Let me undo this custom minimum size there. Yeah, these panels, or this padding here, needs to be a little bit less, methinks. There we go. I can always increase that later, so probably still want to do 192 there. Okay, so the idea is that, oh, I probably do want, oh, shoot. Well, the idea is that you'd have the imp here kind of peering over with his nose going down right there, and then his hands clasping either side of it. And then you've got your madness upgrades here on both columns. They're not really upgrades. I don't know what else to call them though. So that would be kind of the idea here. So yeah. Bed shower ideas are the best, but then you can't wait to try them out. Yeah. Do you think it's bad to use ChatGPT to brainstorm some game ideas, like getting some suggestions for games? No, I don't think so at all. I think that's perfectly fine, Marcos. Actually, the way I came up with the name Gunforged is I was like brainstorming with AI. AI didn't come up with the name Gunforged, but it came up with some suggestions that I kind of like, that inspired the name Gunforged. So I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah, the problem, the big problem with brainstorming game ideas and like name ideas and stuff is like it comes up with a lot of generic stuff. It's not it doesn't come up with anything super like visionary or anything, but it's a good way to get like ideas flowing in your mind. You know, and you could play with some interesting prompts like, you know, I don't know, come up with game ideas that mix two genres that don't typically go together is like something you could ask ChatGPT, and it probably will come up with a lot of bad ideas, but it probably will also come up with some interesting ones as well. Yeah, I think that's the right way to use it, I think. Key is to make sure the ideas developed are unique. Yeah, for sure. ChatGPT works really well as like an intelligent rubber duck. I think that's the way to think about it. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna create some buttons for this. Let me think. Oh man. Oh. I'm trying to think. I might want to create different textures for this, but yeah, I think I'm going to basically copy this script here. Don't tell anyone that I'm doing this copy pasting. We're going to call this Madness button. Let's do Madness unlock button. Get rid of this. Save branch as scene, scenes, UI. Hold on a second. New folder. I'm going to create a Madness folder under the UI folder. Move that there. Before I add any scripts or anything, just so I'm just like all good, you know? Save branch as scene. Now I can go in here and go to Madness. There we go. Keep all those things grouped together. Scripts. Oh, I'm going to need to create a script here. Or a folder, I mean. Scripts, UI, new folder. What is this? Delete this. I hope I didn't actually delete anything that was necessary. No, I don't think so. Create new folder. Madness. Okay. Game.ui.madness. This is extending a texture rect. Clicked, right-clicked, mouse entered, mouse exited. This needs to be a Madness resource. Can acquire texture, is acquired texture. Yeah, I might actually keep this stuff. I'm not, oh man, I'm not entirely sure. We're just gonna forge ahead and fix things as they come up. Icon, sprite, particles. We're gonna get rid of the particles for now. I will copy over that icon sprite though. Okay. Can acquire texture. Okay, ready. Mouse entered. Okay, those are fine. On GUI input, handle click. Emit signal clicked. right clicked. Update particles, we're getting rid of that. Is acquired, can acquire, not can acquire, can blink, we're getting rid of this too. Maybe I shouldn't get rid of that. Maybe I'm gonna regret doing that, but that's all right. Update texture. Okay. Actually, this doesn't need to be structured the same as what I'm copying from. The problem with, so the other screen, this meta upgrade screen, it's a tree, and so instead of each button managing its own state, it has to defer to the state of the tree. So the button just kind of ends up being like controlled by something external to it, but that's not the case with the Madness unlocks. So I could actually manage the state of the button within itself entirely because it's not dependent on anything else being unlocked. All it's dependent on is having an available, Madness point. So I actually don't think I need to do all this fancy stuff because what I can do is I can say, yeah, I can say, so if is acquired, I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. Hold on. These can go away, these can go away. I don't think I need those either. Get rid of that. Okay. Also, what try to do? So right now I'm working on a my mental energy is going away fast. I've been up, like I said at the beginning of the scream. Wow, I've been up. Okay, let me try again. I've been up since 4 a.m. I got up and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I got up, I made myself some coffee, and I've been working on Gunforge since like 5 in the morning. And it is now almost 1 o'clock. So I've already been working for like 8 hours today. But anyway, what I'm trying to do is I'm adding a madness system to the game. And the madness system, I mean, you should know what that is. So I shouldn't have to describe it. I'm just kidding. No, the madness system is a way of making the game more difficult after you've beaten the game. So when you beat all 3 of the levels at the normal default difficulty, what I'm planning on happening is that a little imp is going to appear in the hub arena. A little imp is going to appear in the hub arena somewhere, and he's going to entice you to indulge in the madness. That's what this... Well, I don't have it up anymore, but he's going to entice you to indulge in the madness, and then you're going to have 1 madness point when you beat all the levels on the first difficulty, and then you can spend the madness point, which is going to make the game more difficult. And then you have to beat all of the levels again on that madness tier, and the tier is just based on how many madness points you've invested. So you get 1 madness point every time you beat a madness tier, and you can advance to the next madness tier when you beat a madness tier. But every time you beat a madness tier, you have to invest another point into the madness system. So every time you beat a madness tier, you're adding more difficulty on top of the previous difficulty. And there's going to be 10, I'm planning on having 10 madness tiers. So that means that there will be 10 modifiers at the 10th tier that make the game much harder. And again, this is a system just for players that find that they get better at the game or they get really good at the game. Maybe they've got their meta upgrades unlocked through this table here. and the game is somewhat easy now. Well, now you can engage in the madness system to keep the game challenging and make the game more challenging, and hopefully just extend the amount of enjoyable playtime you get out of the game. And the reason I'm doing this is because I actually beat Gunforged last night in terms of beating all the levels. And I was actually personally disappointed because I kind of wanted to play more, but there really wasn't a point to me playing more because I had already beaten everything. And the problem is that since the game hasn't changed in difficulty, if I were to go back down to the dungeon level, it just feels like a cakewalk. And actually now, like, I've played the game enough where I can reliably beat the dungeon level without any effort whatsoever. And so in order to get the players to go back and play the older levels, you can spend the madness points to increase the difficulty of the game, and then you actually have to go back and beat all of the levels again in order to get the next madness point, so you can make the game even more difficult. And of course, there will be like incentives for beating it, right? There will be a Steam achievement for beating madness tier 10 or whatever, you know, like all that stuff will be there. But it's just a way of extending the lifetime of the game, the enjoyable playable hours you can get out of it, all that kind of stuff. Hello, do I stream on Twitch? I do not, no. Hello, 3opple, by the way. Great to see you. I've been asked that question quite a bit. I should figure out if there's a good way to do that, but I need to figure that out for him. Scene and node attributes. So those are source generators. So if you're not familiar with source generators, I mean, those are attributes for a source generator that I'm running. A source generator generates code programmatically for me. And so this wire nodes function right here is purely generated. If I click into this, this is all code that assigns my nodes for me based on what's tagged with the node attribute. And all it does is it basically says any member that is tagged with the node attribute, then this wire nodes will look inside the tree for any nodes that are named like this. So in other words, like this icon sprite here, it's going to go and look in the tree and it's going to say, okay, I'm going to find a node that's a child of this root node with the name icon sprite. And if you find it, assign it to this member. And so that's just a very easy and nice way for me to quickly get all of my node references whenever the node is instantiated. So that's how it works. Whenever I wake up at 4 a.m., my mind feels completely foggy. Yeah, it's not a great thing. I mean, I tried to go back to sleep, but like it just wasn't working. That's a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm actually very confident that this is going to be really fun, which is why I'm actually going forward with like the UI stuff right now, because like I'm feeling pretty good. Not that my initial numbers here, like I've got some numbers written down. I'm not sure if that's going to work, the numbers exactly, but I think the system is going to be fun. I draw inspiration from your stream whenever I'm working on Bubble Tank Frenzy. Nice. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be your little what is it, code companion. I do that sometimes too. If I'm deep in some work, I just have someone, you know, working with me on the other monitor or something like that. I was doing like export group internal UIs, dragging it manually into Godot. Yeah, I mean that's a good way to do it as well. I don't think, especially for like GD script, if you do that and you just assign everything through the editor, I think that's reasonable to do. I just don't like doing that. It kind of clutters up the inspector here. And the other thing about this too is that yeah, it doesn't require me to do any like manual effort, right? Because I've already got the member name. All I have to do is just make sure that the member names are the same as the node names. But I do that anyway, just for clarity, right? So it's kind of like self-reinforcing. It kind of keeps your tree clean. You get warnings, or I get warnings in the game if any of these references are failed to be set. So I know immediately that there's a problem with my node reference. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's one of my more favorite things that I've produced. And by the way, that's all open source too for anyone watching who wants this. If you go to my GitHub, github.com/firebelly, there's a repository called Godot Utilities. And actually, I think Godot Utilities is available as a NuGet package as well. So you could actually just install it from the NuGet, the Microsoft NuGet package repository, and you can pull it right into your project and start using it. So, of course, it's open source, MIT license, so you can do whatever you want with it. It's a custom plugin. Yeah, it's a C# library. Yeah. Bonus stream, yeah. Welcome, Neozoid. Welcome back. I'll use it for my project. Excellent. Yeah, the more the merrier. Go ahead and use it. Okay, so what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh yeah, so I need to figure out how to manage the state here of these. Hello, cat. Hello, cat. I need to figure out how to manage the state of these buttons. So I was talking about how these buttons can manage their own state. The problem is that I don't necessarily want to be in a situation where I'm calling. If I go to my Madness Manager, do you want to say hi to the stream? Pew. Hello. Say hi. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Okay. The Madness Unlock button. So the Madness Manager. So if I call get current madness tier over and over again, or get available madness points, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I'd be doing like 100 iterations every time the state of this button changes, which is probably okay. I mean, I don't need to worry about that necessarily, but I'd much rather have a cleaner way of doing that. Let me think. I might use, you know what I might do? Yeah, I'll add this to the, yeah, I can manage this all. Yeah, this will be fine. Okay, so yeah, I'll do this. Is acquired. So, oh shoot. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this. So is acquired. This one's easy. If save manager dot has madness. I'm going to rename this to has madness unlock just to be consistent. Madness resource. Get rid of this. Okay, so if we have the madness unlock, then guess what? That's going to be shown as unlocked. Else if can acquire. So this is the thing where it's like, what happens in here is I need to do madness manager dot get available madness points is greater than 0. The problem is that this is going to iterate over the madness registry 10 times and do 100 iterations because each button is going to be doing this check. So, but I don't know if it's worth trying to find a way around that or if I should just deal with the 100 iterations and call it fine. It's kind of sloppy, but it's such a small number. But the problem is that that's going to grow. So if I go up to 20, madness points eventually, then it's going to be 20 times 20, right? It's an exponential growth of iterations, which again, 400 probably wouldn't be that bad, but it's just sloppy. You don't want to have, if you can avoid it, like exponential growth checks in your code base. That's generally a bad idea. So I need to find a way of like caching this value. And what I might have to do then is I might have to do what I was originally not wanting to do, which is manage the button states from the parent screen. I don't want to do that, but I might have to. I snooped around your repo, but I know nothing about generators. I'm way too green on C#. If you need suggestions for tutorials or courses, I'd be down for something more intermediate like that. Yeah, source generators are very, very complicated and hard to get right. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to like pick up that repository and immediately start adding to the source generator code. I'd probably need a little bit to wrap my head around it. Okay, let me think. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can leave this here. It's just this check that's problematic here. I think what I'll do is I'll just do this. So we'll create a variable here, available madness points. And then in here, available madness points is equal to available. And then replace that here, available madness points there. So then, unfortunately, I am going to have to go into this madness unlock screen. I mean, it needed to create a script for it anyway. So that's fine. Game.ui.madness. Public override void ready. Private void update buttons. For each var button in get this dot get nodes in group. Oh, get tree dot get nodes in group. Madness unlock button. Button dot set available madness points, and then I'll just do this. Available madness points is equal to this dot get. No, what am I doing? Madness manager dot get available madness points. So now I'm only doing that 10 iterations there instead of 10 squared, which again wouldn't have been a problem, but I'm going to be sensitive to if the system grows at all. Set available madness points to available madness points. So now we're only doing n times 2 iterations, which is fine. Gonna call update buttons in here. Set available madness points, and I'm probably gonna want to call update texture in here as well. I probably don't need to call this here. Handle click. So I think all I need to do is well, let's see, handle click. So if available madness points is greater than 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to do save manager dot try unlock madness. So let's do this. Try unlock madness, madness resource.id. I'm just going to do a generic signal in here. Public delegate void madness updated event handler. Emit signal name dot madness updated. If save manager dot try lock madness resource dot id. We're going to do this here. And what we'll do is in the madness unlock screen here, we'll connect to all those buttons. Unfortunately, we got to do this whole thing again, but that's fine. Button dot madness updated plus equals on madness updated. Usually I don't like to do this kind of logical stuff inside of the UI, like unlocking things inside of the UI, but this is such a small case that I don't think it's that big of a deal. Usually what I like to do is just make the UI basically just that, just collect user inputs and display data to the user, but something else ideally should be processing the user inputs, and then the UI should be responding to whatever changes in the logical system are happening. I don't think it's generally a good idea to tie game logic inside of the UI directly, but sometimes it's not only is it sometimes unavoidable, but sometimes it's way too much effort to avoid it when you could just build it right into the UI component. So I don't, like I said, I'm not totally comfortable with it, but it's also such a minor thing that I'm fine. I'm fine. On madness updated, so we're going to call update buttons here. So anytime madness is updated, we'll update the buttons. Cool. Handle click, texture rect, accept event. Oh, I don't have... Let's get rid of this. Okay. All right. So now let's build. Did you find using Godot signal more useful instead of sticking entirely to C# event action? Yeah, I mean, I think my opinion is that it's a bad idea to mix and match them, because Godot has a certain life cycle and a certain way that it does things with its like observer pattern, which is the signal system. And I don't know, just having two parallel systems that both kind of do the same thing but behave slightly differently, I think is probably just a recipe for disaster. So I personally stick with using Godot signals only, just because, you know, I want to stick with a consistent system that I understand how it's going to work every time when there's lots of signals flying everywhere, and events and stuff. So yeah, I think that's the reason. But I mean, you can certainly do what works best for you. What was I doing? Oh, right. I built the game. So madness unlock button. So I need to go and copy these textures over. Can I do this? Am I allowed to do this? Can I copy these properties? And then if I paste them here, is it just going to work? Oh my goodness, look at that. I hope I didn't copy anything that I didn't want to copy, but I've got all these textures now. Check it out. Okay, so now for this one, put that there. All right, I'm just gonna run this. Let's see if it works. Okay, well, I just unlocked it, so let's check the save manager. Save.json rather. Look at that. Increased enemy health, unlocked, true, created at whatever that timestamp is. Now, if I run it again and I right click, I should be able to remove it. Oh, I can't. Okay. Why am I not allowed to unclick it? Handle right click. Try, oh, I did the wrong thing. This should be try lock madness. Okay. Obviously, this is looking very bare bones right now. But there's one final thing that I want to do before I close this out. So that works great. Now, let me just, oh, come on. Really? Let me just set up as a stub the next one that I want to make, because I want to make sure that the lock is working. So if I set up a new resource, Madness resource, let's do this one. Prices are 50% higher. Enemy bullets travel. Stop it. The cat is just sitting here meowing at me. Lose 1 health at the start of the run. Lose health. Tier 1. Okay, we'll call it that. So I'm going to rename this to lose health tier 1 button. Like so. Put this over here. Now if I run this again, I should see that that one is locked, hopefully. Oh, it's not. Oh, wait, no, because I haven't spent one. Boom. See how that gets locked because I don't have another tier. So my data is telling me that I have the first Madness tier unlocked because I've beaten the cave, the dungeon, and the graveyard, each of those at least once on normal difficulty. So now I spent my 1 point. That's what this being illuminated means. But I can always undo it. Now I'm back at normal difficulty. So this is Madness tier 0. That's just normal difficulty, right? So I could take this one instead, though. And now what I've done is I've unlocked the other Madness thing instead, and now I'm back on Madness tier 1. So I'll have UI and stuff that shows like what Madness tier you're on and everything. But that system is working perfectly the way that I wanted it to. I only have 1 Madness point to spend, which means I can only allocate it in 1 spot. So now that I've got that unlocked, and this doesn't do anything yet, so I'll worry about that later. The last thing that I want to do, let me commit this, begin work on Madness unlocks screen. Let me just make sure that there's no egregious errors in here, like me leaving a bunch of code around or something. That looks fine. Okay. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to actually make sure that this works. So if I go to my wave enemy arena enemy manager, apply health scaling. So in here, this health scaling here, let me think. Percentages are, what is the word? Commutative, right? Or is it not? No, it's not. Or is it? Let me do some quick maths. If I do, so 10 times 20% is, or yeah, so that would be 12. But let's say that I'm on a wave where I'm increasing health by 78%. So that's 21. But if I do 10 times 1.78 first, yeah, it's commutative, right? So I can just multiply them in whatever order I want, since it's all multiplication. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to figure out if I need to multiply the base health or the health afterwards, but it shouldn't make a difference. Apply scaling. Apply scaling internal. This is so messy. But you know what they say, don't fix what ain't broke. Hello, Nithron. First time on your stream, what are you working on right now? Right now I'm working on a Madness system, which is basically just like an in-game or end game system for making the game more difficult. So yeah, apply scaling internal. I'm pretty sure that this is only called for enemies. So in here, what I can do save manager dot has madness unlock. Lose health tier 1. I don't need to do this one just yet, but I'm just going to add it. So now I can check this. Madness ID dot increased enemy health. Has madness unlock. Is it going to be 0.2? Otherwise 0. So essentially what this is doing is this is going to multiply that out. So it's going to multiply it by 1.2, so that's another 20% increase. Actually, I wonder if I should do I want to make it multiplicative? I actually don't know. Or do I want to make it additive with this value here? I guess that's the question I should have been asking. Do I want to make it multiplicative or do I want to make it additive? I probably want to make it additive because multiplicative is going to be... It's going to get very much out of control because the enemy scaling curve... Where is that? Why am I passing that curve in from here? There's so many weird things happening here that I'm not going to bother fixing because the game is working and I don't want to break anything. But it makes me very uncomfortable. Like this apply scaling in here. So when an enemy is spawned, it calls apply health scaling on it, on the health component. And it then calls this apply scaling, passing in a curve for the scale and a progress value. But then it calls apply scaling internal deferred for some reason. And then that's when the health is actually set. I think this probably is related to the health update notifications going throughout the system correctly. But yeah, that's just really weird. That's just really weird. And I don't even know why I'm passing the curve in to begin with from here. I guess the idea was I could have different curves for different arenas, but I don't think I'm using a different curve anywhere, so. Enemy health scaling curve, yeah. So anyway, we eventually get up to 16 as the multiplier. So that means that if my health is 10 by default, it's going to be made 160. And then if I multiplied that by 20%, so if I do 10 times 16 times 1.2, that gives me 192. But then if I do 10... Oh wait, no, is it still... I don't know if I'm thinking about this correctly. That doesn't matter, right? Oh no, that's multiplicative, but if I do... Oh, it goes up to 17. So that could be 17. So this could be 10 times 17.2. Yeah, I don't know if I should make it multiplicative or not. I probably should. I guess it would have to be something that I'd test. So by my calculations, the rats will have 204 health. So the rats by default have 10 health. The rats by default have 10 health here. Yeah, so 10. Yeah, if I just made it an additive here, like if I just added it onto this curve value, so this becomes like 16.2, that doesn't have nearly as much of an effect as this. So I think I will just keep it like this. I'll make it multiplicative. So it's going to take the curve value, multiply that. It's going to multiply the... Oh, wait. Yeah. So it's just going to multiply all those things. So it's going to be 10 times whatever the curve value is times 1.2, which is a 20% increase, right? Okay. Whew! My brother never stops even on Sundays. Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 weeks until Gunforge releases. I'm having fun, though. like crunching and getting the final things done for the game. But I'm definitely going to be taking it easy after the release. I saw some videos on your channel, and man, the game looks awesome. It's also nice to see it being developed live. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that message. There's a demo available, so if you haven't played the demo yet, please feel free to do so. The Steam page is linked in the description below. I've been updating the demo quite frequently. I've been pushing a build for the release version of Gunforge like every day because I have some internal like friends of mine playtesting right now. But I'm also updating the demo, so any of the quality of life improvements that I'm making are getting pushed to the demo as well. So there's a good chance that if you play the demo, once a week, you'll see some new things. Should the 0.2 multiplier always be 0.2 or possibly variable, different for certain difficulties, if those exist? That's a good question, Amerikind. And there is the system that I'm working on is the kind of like de facto difficulty system, but the idea is that you put points into each of these debuffs, basically. So one debuff is enemies have 20% increased health, but none of the other debuffs increase enemy health. So that might change. Maybe I'll have another like enemies have 20% increased health that you have to take. But I'm going to try to come up with like, because the way that it's going to work, and I've said this several times throughout the stream, but I think it bears repeating, is the way that this is going to work is that you're just going to accumulate, like these are going to accumulate, these are going to add up. So it's not like you choose one at a time, like, oh, I'll choose that one and then I'll choose that one. It's like, no, if you're on Madness Tier 3, you have to take this one and this one and this one. And so all of those things are going to be working against you at the same time. So enemy health increasing is just one of those things, if that makes sense. But that may not end up being challenging enough, so I may have to think about that some more. But yeah, it's a good question. So we'll just multiply that out. So if it has Madness Unlock, Madness ID, increased enemy health. Okay, so 1 plus 0.2 or 0, okay. That times 1 shouldn't do anything. So let's see if this actually works. I think this actually, this should work, because if I look at this, the rats should now have 12 health, which I actually don't know how I'm going to verify. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just say gd.print set max health to max health. So I should see the number 12 being printed here. Actually, let's start doing this. Let's do this first. I will definitely check it out. Thank you. I have a problem. The node transform is not relative to parent. Why I do? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? So if I remove that and then I go into my dungeon level. Okay, let's see. Set max health 10. Okay, so we've got the rats being set to their normal health. So now if I go to my Madness Unlock screen and I take the first one, bam, close the window, go back to my dungeon level. Now I should see that being printed as 12. Yep, look at that. Boom, it works. The first Madness upgrade is now functional in game, and that's going to apply to bosses as well, so I'm going to have to be really careful about that, because a 20%... No, that shouldn't be a problem. No, that shouldn't be a problem. 20% is like noticeable, but it's not... I may even bump it up to 25%. We'll have to see. It's a problem, but it's not that big of a problem. Yeah, okay. Cool. So that's functional now. Excellent. So I'm going to actually go ahead and mark this one off as I've done that, just so I know that I've actually implemented that, because I'm not going to be able to tell which ones I have implemented already. So let's see. Implement first madness item. And again, I'm doing this all in a separate... Oh, I want to see what the save data looks like here. I haven't actually tested what this looks like. Actually, you know what? I can test that right now. In the tower, the building component is not relative to the tower position. In the tower, the building component is not relative to the tower. His position is ever 0, 0. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding quite what the issue is. I mean, if you want, Dione, send me a message on the in Udemy and include some like screenshots and stuff so I can actually see it, and I'll try to get back to you. I don't have enough context right now to be able to answer that question though, but I will try to help you if you want to message me on Udemy. Let's see, what was I doing? Oh right, I was just gonna start a run. So I'm on Madness Tier 1. So what I should see, and I need to lock these. I need to do that as well. No worries, Dione, it's not a problem. So if I do this, quit. I'm curious to see what that does. Okay, that's concerning. Why is that not happening? Oh, I guess I don't increment the runs lost if I don't die. Okay, anyway, before I forget. Also make levels not unlockable or not playable unless the appropriate unlocks have happened for the madness tier. Okay. I think what I need to do is I need to die. I just want to see and make sure that this dictionary is being saved correctly to the save data here. So if I go in here, dang, it is snowing. Go all the way up. Okay, so it just ends up using a string. I was wondering how that was going to work with the JSON, but that appears to be working. So the last thing that I want to do is I just want to make sure that that gets deserialized correctly. I'm sure it will. I think Newtonsoft, the JSON package that I'm using, does that just fine, but madness statistics. I'm just going to put a breakpoint right there and start this up. And I'll just inspect the save data and make sure that's been transformed into an integer. Save data. Madness statistics. Yep, key is int1, and we got our value there. Sweet. Okay, that seems to be working pretty flawlessly, actually. So I've got a good framework going on to develop that madness system even further. I think it's actually going to be smooth sailing from here on out because that whole system, like I said, is in place. I just need to update the UI to show the player what madness level they're on and like make sure that the player is really understanding how the madness system is working. And of course, I got to do the art for the little imp guy that I want to make. So there's still a lot of work to do, but I think I've solved pretty much the most difficult parts of this. And I can't imagine that these modifiers are going to be that hard to implement either. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I may actually have this system done by midweek sometime. we'll see, I guess. But I would love to have this available on release for you all so you can get some nice mileage out of the game if you enjoy it. But that's going to be it for the stream for now. I'm very tired, so I'm going to go rest my little eyes. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out. I very much appreciate it. And it's always good to see you. I'll be streaming again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so feel free to stop by again if you are available. And also, again, please wishlist Gunforged on Steam. The link for that is in the description below. And you can also purchase my Udemy courses. I've got 2 of them. You can purchase one of those if you are interested in learning how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. And yeah, thank you all again. I very much appreciate your support. And thank you especially, well, not especially, but thank you as well to all of the lurkers and the VOD watchers out there. Your support is greatly appreciated as well. All right. Thanks again, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right. Have a good day.